So today we're going to open a jewelry bag. I was in one of my small local thrift stores the other day. It's a thrift store that I frequent often. And she was clearing out the jewelry counter and putting everything in bags. I did ask her about this, if they were going to stop carrying jewelry. And her answer was no, that they were just clearing some things out because they were going to do some remodeling. So I managed to snag 3 of these bags, a small, medium, and large. The largest bag cost me $20, and the medium-sized bag was $15, and the small one was $5. So I spent a total of about $40, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that there are some good items in these bags. Today I'm going to open the medium-sized bag, which was $15, and let's see if I got my money's worth. I will be opening the other bags on my channel, but I'll do those in separate content. The last jewelry bag that I purchased was in South Carolina, and it really wasn't worth my money. There were a few wearable pieces in it, but for the most part, it was craft. This store that I got these bags from, I used to get some really fabulous jewelry bags from that store, and I had showed those on my channel earlier on when I had first started on YouTube. So we're going to open this up, and maybe we got some good items, at least some vintage items or some wearable items. We're going to find out, and you guys definitely let me know what you think of the items I got in the content. So let's start going through this and see what all we have. This first item is in its own little baggie, so this is a set. It's very lightweight. Let's open it up and have a better look at it. Well, I can tell right off the bracelet isn't something worth dealing with. The earrings are nice. They are still on their card. And I think these are pretty fashion earrings, but this bracelet is just a really lightweight plastic, and it's a stretchy bracelet. So I don't think that I would even fool with trying to list the bracelet unless I threw it into a craft lot, but I think the earrings are okay. Let's dig in here and see what else we have. Well, right off, I can tell you that this necklace is going to go straight into craft. It's very lightweight, cheap plastic, no closure on it. So I don't think that this would be something that anybody would really want unless they wanted to take it apart and do some crafting with it. So far, not too good, but maybe there are some more good pieces in here. So this isn't too bad. This is a nice necklace. It has a really good weight to it. All of these silver-toned beads. I don't think this is sterling. It is marked. So this one is marked with the letter M. I'm not familiar with that. I'm thinking that this is just a fashion piece. And I don't think it's a Monet, guys. If it is, let me know. I've never seen a Monet necklace marked like that. But not too bad. It's wearable. This is pretty. This is a heavy gunmetal colored stretch bracelet. Has rhinestones set into it. Still has plenty of stretch to it. This is more modern, of course. So far, nothing that I would consider vintage. But it is wearable. So that's okay, I guess. Not too disappointed with that one. Another stretch bracelet. I like the colors in this. Very pretty colors. I don't see any markings on it. Still has some stretch to it. This one is blue and white enameled. So just a really cute fashion piece. It's not something that I wouldn't wear, but so far, not too good for this jewelry bag. This is in its own little baggie. And sometimes they do that at that thrift store. I don't know if maybe this is sterling, but we're certainly going to open it up, take it out of the bag, and have a look at it. A pendant on it. I'm not really seeing any markings on this piece to tell me if it's sterling or not. The pendant on this just says M. You can see here, no markings. This doesn't look like sterling to me, it's just silver toned. So I'm not sure why they had it in the baggie unless it was just to keep it from getting tangled. So this looks kind of interesting. This is kind of like a small replica of a class ring, probably something that may have been given out at prom or graduation to use as a charm. My guess is someone would have worn this on a necklace. And it says 1974 Junior Senior Prom. So I think my guess was right. Don't know of anyone that would want this, but kind of a cute item. I'm just going to set this to the side. Probably would be something more along the lines that you would put into a craft lot. So this is a stretch, just a really cheap little stretch bracelet. It does have real stone chips in it. So this would be a great crafting item to take apart and maybe make something else out of, such as a necklace or maybe a sturdier type of bracelet. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so I like this. This is really pretty. It looks like hematite, and I think the red beads on it are glass. It does have a barrel closure. I don't think this is all of that vintage. It just doesn't look it to me, but this is a really pretty piece of jewelry. So I'm pretty happy with this. And you can see on the front of it, the red beads, I'm going to guess that those are just glass beads. But this is really nice. I like the heart pendant on the front of it. So something else here that seems to have real stones. Oh, wow. So this pendant is a raw stone. Looks like quartz, and it has some inclusions in it. Green and black inclusions. I'm going to guess maybe that is some kind of tourmaline or something like that. And then the beads that you see on here, the smaller beads, they have a shape to them. This one has a toggle closure, and the black beads on it feel like glass. It also has these really pretty silver tone beads that look like moon and the sun. So this is a really nice necklace. I'm not sure if it is a homemade piece, maybe an artisan piece, but not bad, very unusual. This one looks like a rosary, but it is tangled up with this other necklace. So I'm going to pause recording for a few seconds just to get this untangled. Okay, so this is a rosary. There's the cross at the bottom. This one's done in silver tone and black. And this one is St. Anthony. It says pray for us. And a lot of people like to collect rosaries, so this is not a bad item to have gotten in one of these jewelry bags like this. This is the other necklace that was tangled up with that one, and I like this. Very pretty. Has the tassel at the bottom. It has a vintage look to it. Probably not all of that vintage. Not really sure. Let's see what it says. So this is NY brand. So I don't think this is all that vintage, but it has that vintage look, and I really like the beads, and I like the gold tone, kind of like a brushed matte gold tone. Another necklace. Well, let's look at this first. So this is a really interesting looking cuff. It's very heavyweight. I like the looks of this. And then there is a marking on the inside. And it looks as though someone has just scratched that into the inside. It says sterling silver 14 karat gold. I'm not so sure about that. I do see a slight amount of tarnish on this. It may turn out that it's silver plated. It would be great if this was real sterling silver with gold trim, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. Either way, it is a nice cuff. It does look vintage. And I'm sure you guys want to know as much as I do, so I'm going to set it to the side. We're going to go through the rest of the jewelry, and at the end, I'm going to test it so we can all see if it is sterling or gold. This is a 3-strand statement piece, and it's a combination of different materials. We have some faux turquoise, probably some dyed howlite, and then we have some beads, and these look like hematite beads, and some wood beads. It has a lobster claw clasp on it, but not bad. I like this. I think it's really pretty. It looks very bohemian. And jewelry like this, you could wear this with different styles. Like if you were into the Southwestern style jewelry, you could wear this. And it also goes great with other items, kind of like bohemian style. So not a bad statement piece. And then here we have a bracelet. This is really pretty. I like this a lot. Just a beautiful bracelet. And this one is marked. We'll take a look at that and see what the marking says. But first of all, let me show you guys a close-up of it. Isn't that pretty? Very nice. And it says on the marking, Liz Claiborne. And I really like Liz Claiborne jewelry. I have some jewelry in my personal collection that's Liz Claiborne. And it's well-made jewelry. It usually holds up pretty well. And some of the pieces that I have, I've had for many years. I've got one bracelet that I've had that goes all the way back to the 1990s. So this is a really good piece, and it is a signed piece. Then we have this. This is a vintage necklace. Very lightweight. It's done in plastic, but not bad. I guess I can say at least there were a few vintage pieces in this lot. And then we have this bracelet. This is pretty. Lots of tarnish on it. It looks as though it needs to be cleaned up. And it does have a marking. Let's zoom in to see if we can get a better look at what that says. So this one, I've inserted a picture so you guys can get a better look at it. It says 930, and that is a mark that is sometimes used for sterling. So this is another one that we're going to test. So first, I want to test this cuff bracelet. You know, I'm not trusting what's been written or scratched on the inside of it. And I'm going to zoom in case you guys didn't see that. But it looks as though someone, I can't really tell, either wrote or scratched onto the inside of it, sterling silver and 14 karat gold. So let's see if we can get a couple of scratches off of this and do some testing, see what it says. At least we're going to try to do a scratch test. I don't know if this is going to scratch or not. Okay, so there I have scratched the end of this piece, and now I'm going to get a scratch off of the front of it. Okay, so let's find out. Let's see what happens. My guess is going to be that the thrift store did test it. They do test their jewelry. The last time I was in there before this time, they did have some rings that were sterling that they had tested. And I doubt if they had tested it and it was sterling, it would end up in a jewelry bag. And I've already spilt some acid. Probably going to have to put some neutralizer on that right quick. So obviously it is not sterling, it's not silver, because it would have shown up on the acid test. So wishful thinking on my part, but I'm not disappointed because I really do like the bracelet. It is vintage and it's a really nice heavy bracelet. So I'm just going to put some neutralizer on here and give this stone another wipe, and then we will test the other bracelet. So let's try this one. This is a vintage bracelet. It is marked for sterling. It has a fold over closure, and this one has some tarnish on it. My thoughts are the only way they would have missed this is if they just looked at it and it was tarnished and they thought, oh, it's just a piece of costume. And I have ran across pieces like that the thrift store has missed. So I'm going to get a scratch off the clasp first. So that scratched really well. Let's see how well the chain will scratch because this is a very slick chain. So I'm not getting any scratch off of that at all. Try one of these balls that's on the chain. A little bit of a scratch. I think I'll rub it a couple of more times and see what happens. I don't have the strength in my hands I once had, so that's going to have to do for the chain part. I'm also going to attempt to get a scratch off of the front piece of the bracelet, and we'll see how that works. Okay, so 3 scratches. I don't feel like I got a very good scratch off the chain or the ball piece that was on the chain, but I'm going to put some acid on those scratches anyway, and we shall see. So I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. It's not showing up on camera very well, but there is some blue in there. Some very faint blue on all of the scratches except the last one that I made, and that was for the piece that was on the front of it. I may not have gotten a proper scratch off of that front piece because it does have some tiny little rhinestones set into it. At least I think they're rhinestones. So I'm going to do another scratch test and I will insert a photo of that one. Here's a closer view of where I retested this bracelet, so it is sterling. This bracelet cleaned up very well. I've included a before picture on the right side of the screen, and it's really a beautiful little bracelet. One thing that I noticed after I'd cleaned it is I thought that the center stones set into it were black, but it turns out they are a beautiful deep blue. So the next thing I will have to do is test this to see if those are rhinestones or maybe there's something a little bit better. You guys let me know what you think of this jewelry bag. I feel like I got my money's worth and a little bit more. The reason I say that is there was a lot of pieces of jewelry in there. Some of them weren't too great, but the sterling bracelet, that was a big bonus. The cuff bracelet, even though it wasn't sterling, I do like it. It is a nice vintage piece. And then there were a few of the necklaces that I thought were really nice. So definitely my money's worth. That thrift store is kind of more reasonable on their jewelry. They usually charge around $4 for a single piece of costume jewelry. If you buy a set, it's usually $5. And anything that they've tested that they think is sterling or semi-precious stones, those pieces are a lot more. So really got a good deal on this bag, and I'm going to hope that the other bags are just as good. You guys let me know what you think and which items were your favorites. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to share these items with me. If you enjoyed this content, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel for more content on collecting vintage and antique items. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.